Well, all right. So I already made a video talking about the Lions' defense against the Commanders' offense. And I said I think Daniels could have a pretty good day because Daniels has a pretty good day every time he takes the football field, it seems. Why wouldn't this game be any different? However, the flip side is that, and what we're going to talk about in this video, is this Lions offense against the Commanders' defense is the biggest mismatch, I think, on paper in this postseason still remaining. Now, just because something is a mismatch on paper doesn't mean it always works out that way, but let's talk about every step of the way, what's to expect going into this game, and is there any way Washington could try and slow down this Lions offense? I have a way. I've come up with something they probably can do, so we'll get into it and talk about what has to happen for the Commanders to have a chance defensively. So first, let's use our friends at PFF to look at where they ranked each positional category for each of these two teams. You see that the Lions are ranked 6th in passing, 2nd in receiving, only 18th in pass blocking, which was a bit surprising. They are 3rd in run blocking, but only 18th in pass blocking. Part of that has been Dan Skipper played about 400 snaps. That's factoring in because they had Taylor Decker got banged up for a chunk. But you see really good stuff there against the 15th ranked pass rush and 27th ranked coverage unit. I mean, that's just horrifying if you're a Commanders fan. I mean, the way this Lions team can seemingly move the ball at will, going up against the Commanders defense that it's played better down the stretch, but it still hasn't been good down the stretch, and it was awful early on. So they need to get it together. They're going to have to be better than 27th ranked coverage in this playoff game to even have a shot against Detroit. And sometimes if you're a good coverage unit, it still doesn't matter. Running game doesn't get much better for the Commanders. In fact, it might get a little worse. As I said, 3rd best run blocking unit according to PFF, 7th best pure rushing unit. That's the running backs running the ball, or the few Jared Goff carries that he has with the every now and then he'll scramble. Against 29th ranked run defense for Washington. I will say, like against Tampa Bay, they actually got to a pretty hot start. They got some stops early on, struggled later on as the game went along, but still, you never know, right? But that's what I mean when I say on paper, this could be a disaster. This stat is an important one for Jared Goff. You see that what's interesting is, so this is Jared Goff when he's blitzed and when he's not blitzed. His passer rating is mostly the same, but his PFF grade actually drops 10 points when he's not blitzed. When you drop back and play coverage, you're actually a little better off, which is not usually what you would think. The reason is he's just so quick at noticing the blitz and just getting it to the right spot. He reads those plays so quickly. So early on in his career, he was, I don't even want to say struggled. He was just awful at this. Like the Super Bowl against the Patriots, famously when he was with the Rams, a lot of it was blitzing and him not reading the coverages. We've seen him struggle with that. Not this season, although the team as a whole, it's great either way. There is no, just blitz him and you'll be all right, or just drop back and play coverage and you'll be all right. It is worth noting, though, I actually do think that blitzing might be a good strategy here for the Commanders. They blitz 5th most in football. That's one of those, I think, surprising stats because you view Dan Quinn as more of a cautious guy. Dan Quinn has done a makeover. He is not the Dan Quinn that we remember in Atlanta, and you have to get that out of your heads going into this game because he will be aggressive on 4th downs, and he will be aggressive in both these. There's going to be no punts in this game. Both these guys are going to be aggressive on 4th downs, and he's going to be aggressive in terms of what the defensive scheme is. They might blitz, and here's why I think that could be a good thing. If you look at Jared Goff when he's under pressure versus kept clean, now every quarterback gets worse when they're under pressure as opposed to kept clean, of course, right? You're going to have a dip there. But you see his PFF grade is 55.7 when he's under pressure. It's 90.7 when he's kept clean. That feels like an absurd jump. It still is a pretty significant jump, though. He's 16th best when he's under pressure, 10th best when he's kept clean in terms of PFF grades. So better quarterback when he's in the pocket than when he's under pressure compared to his peers. But the bigger thing is the passer rating. So again, 9th best passer rating under pressure. These are not bad numbers, even when he's under pressure, but he's 2nd best when he's kept clean. If you don't get any pressure on him, you're losing the football game. It's just that simple. And with this Detroit Lions offensive line, usually you don't get pressure on him. So what can you do? I said there is one strategy that you can try and pull off, and we can just start off with that one before we get into why I think they're going to have a tough time defensively, the Commanders are. So this is it. Let's talk about the one time we've really seen this. There's been a couple times that the Lions offense has struggled, actually. Like Goff threw 5 picks in the Texans game. They still won, but still. We've seen it a few times. But here's the one way I think we've seen any consistency in terms of getting Goff to struggle. Because the one thing Goff has done a bad job at this year has been protecting the football. Honestly, even saying bad job is probably unfair. He's middle of the road in turnover-worthy plays this season out of the 44 eligible players. So, not saying he's bad is not the right word, but that's been kind of the one weakness. The one way you can beat him is by getting turnovers. Here's a way you can potentially do it. So you see, I've highlighted a Tampa Bay linebacker right here. It's a little hard to see the number. I believe that's Levante David. Nonetheless, Jahmyr Gibbs is in the backfield, and one of the ways that you can maybe get some pressure is by forcing the halfbacks to block. It does 2 things. One, halfbacks don't want to block. You can try and take them out of the game that way, and Gibbs is such an elite runner. If you can make him have to block instead of run a route, well, that's a win right off the bat. But you see on this play, the pressure is going to get the Goff. Goff is hit as he's thrown. There was also just a miscommunication on the route, which results in the interception. So, okay, you get a little lucky there. But you saw Green Bay do this earlier this season, and they had some success with it. If you can get the halfbacks to block, that's a strategy. That's what the Commanders are going to do. They're going to try and get the halfbacks to block. And for Detroit, I mean, maybe this is just one of those games where you don't have Gibbs play as much on obvious passing downs for that reason. I don't know. But again, or maybe just Gibbs has to block better. But again, that really is the only way I can see this going well for the Commanders, because there's so many advantages for the Lions. Let's talk about them. First, like what Gibbs can do when he has the ball in his hands. I mean, this is why you want to try and take him out of the game by making him block, because if you don't, like, he's going to do this. You see the Lions. What do you think they're going to do? Are they going to pass it or are they going to run it? They're showing us that they're going to run it. Of course, they sometimes will run play actions off of this. Not this time, though. They give it to Gibbs. Usually they can generate some huge holes for Gibbs to run through. Right here, though, Buffalo's playing this pretty well. They have a defender rushing in, trying to tackle Gibbs. But here's the issue. First off, a lot of times Gibbs, when he first gets contact made against him, it feels like he's 10 yards down the field. But even when that doesn't happen, watch Gibbs make this man miss, and he's going to still pick up, get close to that first down marker right there. I mean, that's just great stuff. And this is an elite level running game going up against one of the worst run defenses in football. Like, it's hard to imagine this going any differently. And heading over here, do the Commanders want to play man? Do they want to play zone? Well, if you play zone, I mean, this is a 3rd and 17. Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to try and get into a gap in coverage over the middle. Goff takes the snap. He has a clean pocket right here. He's going to fire it over the middle. And I mean, this isn't a huge window, I mean, it's 3rd and 17. Like, obviously, this should be pretty well covered for Buffalo. This is a small throw, but, like, Goff is just so good at these plays. Watch as he puts that one right in the window where he wanted to make that throw. You see Amon-Ra St. Brown. He ends up getting a touchdown on this play as well. I mean, it's tough, right? It's tough. If you want to play zone, you're going to get eaten alive. It could maybe help you in the running game, but I don't know if it's going to do that much either way. But the issue is, like, heading over here, the Lions just have so many options. I'm assuming Mike Sandstrom is going to play against Amon-Ra St. Brown, which means that, like, okay, can Lattimore cover Jameson Williams one-on-one? Lattimore didn't do a great job against Evans. Granted, definitely rusty. Maybe he'll play better having getting more back into things. Here, though, you're going to see it's a play action. Williams fakes as though he's running a deep shot, then going to cut back. And I mean, look at this separation that he was able to pull off right here. Again, this is one of the best receiving cores in football. It's a difficult receiving core to cover. Can they play man coverage against them when this Commanders defense hasn't really done great all season? It's hard to bet on it, right? I think the Commanders have a puncher's chance in this game. They do, because they have a great offense, and if you can get some turnovers, which every now and then does happen, the Lions are human, and if you can get them to make mistakes, that's your key to success. The flip side is, like, I just think that, when we do these previews, it's difficult, because sometimes, like, for example, when I previewed the Chargers-Texans game, my thought was, well, the Texans have a lot of advantages defensively. Like their run defense should be able to shut down the Chargers' run offense. On third downs, they shouldn't be able to, obvious passing situations. I don't know how well the Chargers will be able to throw it there, but like the Chargers should be good on play actions against zone. They'll probably still win. But then it turned out they didn't do good in that department, and they had no other pathway to victory, essentially. The issue with the Commanders is they're essentially in that boat of they only have one pathway to victory. Blitz, try to get pressure on Goff, and hope that you can win the turnover battle. And I don't know if that's going to happen. I'd bet against it, to be honest. And when there's so many other pathways to victory, how can you not bank on the Lions having success? So this is my prediction for how I think that this side of the ball is going to go. The Lions, on average this season, their offensive points per drive is 3.09, the best in football. Next closest is the Bills with 3.01. Washington defense, not ideal, 2.28. I'm expecting the Lions to go off in this game. I'm going to say that this is the highest projection I've ever given in 5 years of doing this, 4 points per drive, which would be a dominant offensive day. Again, football is weird. I purposely make a rule where I never say, this team has no chance, like whatever, because that's just not how football works. Things can get weird. Games can go the wrong way. And like I said, I do think that the Commanders' offense could make stuff happen. So for my final prediction, it's going to kind of be a bit of a blowout. I'm projecting a 10-possession game, and it might even be lower than that because these two teams do love to run the ball. But I'm going to say, Lions 40, Commanders 27. That's my prediction. This could go the other way. The way that you want to do it if you're the Commanders is have a good offensive day and have these long possessions, these 8-minute possessions they're kind of known for at this point. Get this to be a 7-possession, 8-possession game and hope that you win the turnover battle because they don't make a lot of mistakes. That's the one thing you have to be careful of for the Lions. Don't turn the ball over. You should be all right. You have more avenues to victory. Just don't beat yourself. But we just saw against the Washington versus Tampa Bay this week. It's like, hey, you get these long possessions, you get your opponent to make a mistake or two, and you don't make the mistake yourself, and you can win. So yeah, that's how it is. But those are my thoughts. Should be I think it'll be a fun game though. But I could see the Lions pulling away here. But we'll see what happens. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.